Hello everybody, and welcome to my take on the spring outlook for 2022. So basically, here's the synopsis I have right here. For those of you who do not know, meteorological spring started on March 1st. The quote-unquote official start of spring isn't until March 20th, but March 1st is when it starts meteorologically. So basically, that's what we're looking at here. We have the spring outlook right here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that just to show you guys what's going on right here. Okay, so basically they are predicting a warmer than average spring for a large portion of the United States with near average or cooler temperatures confined within the West Coast and the Northern Plains. As you can see with the map right here, it is forecasting cooler temperatures in areas like California, parts of Nevada, parts of Wyoming, that area. This is actually... honestly, it looks like average right here. The cooler temperatures are in Washington right here, into Idaho, into Montana right there. The warmer than average basically take over the rest of the United States right here. It encompasses the tip of California, eastern Nevada, most of Utah, all of Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. Like the really very likely warmer goes from Houston all the way into New Mexico, including the Rio Grande Valley in Texas and New Mexico right here. So already the very likely warmer right here, you can see that it's basically in parts of the desert, parts of the southern Texas, parts of New Mexico right here, and you can see the basically likely warmer, if I would like to put it right here, basically stretching all the way from Arizona all the way down to Jacksonville and Miami. Right, that's not good right there, but at the same time, it is expected as it is in the South and everything like that. It's not like it's like in New York or something like that and it catches us completely off guard and everything. But the above average stuff, everything, pretty much most of the United States, including St. Louis, Chicago, New York, Raleigh, and Atlanta, are basically in this orange area right here, which is the above average, you can put it as you may. So basically encompasses at least like 20 states right here, from Arizona all the way up to Maine, down to Georgia and South Carolina right there, including many states, Illinois, Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, all of the above right there. So that's effectively that. Then the slightly above average, you could put it right there, goes from western Arizona, eastern Nevada, all the way into Minnesota, Wisconsin, that area right there. So the temperature outlook you could see right here has most of the U.S. having a warmer than average spring. So you can already tell this isn't the best right here. The precipitation outlook is it's not necessarily that surprising, but it is quite interesting. It also expects it to be drier in parts of like California, Texas, the Four Corners right here, which in areas like that, I'm not necessarily that surprised about. It's generally typical like that after a very wet winter right like that. California especially doesn't get that much rain in the summer and everything like that. Their rainy season was from November to March, so yeah, their odds are they're probably going to be good for a few months and everything like that, but after that it's going to go downhill. And we'll talk more about some of the consequences of that later down the road. The only areas predicted to have a wetter than average spring are basically areas that are cooler than average right here, Washington, Oregon, Montana, Idaho, as well as in parts of the Midwest, like parts of the Rust Belt, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, which is a bit surprising right there, I will say, but at the same time, it's not unexpected, as you know what they say, April showers bring May flowers, except it's those showers are bleeding into May now, so that's effectively what's going on right here. This right here is what is disturbing me the most, honestly, the drought monitor right here. You can see there is at least 50%, you can see 57% of the country right here has at least some sort of dryness in it, if you know what I mean. So the abnormally dry, that's the least amount. That's in basically parts like of Illinois, parts of the Midwest, that area. It's kind of scattered. But the area I'm most concerned is the exceptional area, which is in Oregon, Montana, Nevada, parts of New Mexico, Oklahoma. That concerns me because as the summer goes on and as the rainy season ends for the Midwest and everything, that exceptional could just blow up all over the place. And with this drought monitor right here, it's also the issue I have is that now wildfires are more common and everything like that. As you can see, if it's going to be a much drier than average season in parts of California, the Four Corners, Texas, that area. Wildfires in that area are way more common if you're not careful. Heck, if a weather event happens, like a lightning strike, that could cause a wildfire. So that also is a bit concerning for me as well, as you can see right there, guys. Now, this is the drought outlook from NOAA right here. You can see it right here. Effectively, the drought persists in much of the western half of the United States right here. The drought will remain, but it will improve in very few areas. They're saying the drought will be completely gone in even fewer areas in Minnesota. But the drought development in areas like Houston, Phoenix, into Miami, Jacksonville, pretty much all of Florida right there, is possible. And I am pretty worried about that because that opens the possibility of more dry conditions affecting some of the animals that live in these areas, as well as potential wildfires as well, as I just keep mentioning. Now, you're probably wondering right now, where's the extreme weather aspect of this? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's coming up right now. Because you can't have a spring outlook without looking at the severe weather season right here, the severe weather aspect, including tornadoes. As you can see on this article right here from AccuWeather, they are predicting more tornadoes than in recent years. So let's go ahead and dissect it real quickly. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, this is the tornado outlook right here. As you can see, this is the 2019 season. The amount of tornadoes, like, that season was very crazy, especially in May. There were, as you can see in there, over 500 tornadoes. There was a high-risk day in parts of Oklahoma, including the Oklahoma City area right there. So, yeah, that was May 20th, 2019. The 6th anniversary of the Moore tornado right there. So that's pretty crazy right there on itself. And it was also on the same day of the week that this whole thing happened. So, like, honestly, like, what are the chances of that? But anyway, let's get back into this. The 2020 season was below average right there. March there were only 83 tornadoes. April 271, May 126. So it was below average season. I remember that because it was the pandemic. There was really nothing to do, so I watched the Weather Channel. And basically, there weren't really that many exciting weather days at that point. But the 2021 season, it went ham. It just went insane. It wasn't as bad as the 2019 season, but there were a lot of exceptional outbreaks. For example, there were 2 outbreaks in March of 2021 in the Deep South in 10 days within each other. Now, that in itself is pretty insane. It did have a bit of a lull in April, and then in May, it just started picking up again. And then next thing you know, in December, we had the worst outbreak in December we had seen in decades. It actually raised the bar for really bad outbreaks, because the bar before was the 2015 Dallas outbreak. Now it was this outbreak that destroyed Mayfield, did a lot of damage to Bowling Green, killed 6 people in the Amazon warehouse in Edwardsville, and a lot more damage to that associated with that. Now, what they're predicting is 1,350 to 4,075 tornadoes right here, which isn't as bad as the 2019 season, but they are predicting more tornadoes in March, the most since last year, between 120 and 170 tornadoes. We've already seen a bit of a tornado outbreak in Iowa right there with the EF4 that hit parts of Des Moines right there. April, that's when they're expecting it to reach its peak right there, because I always say this, severe weather season starts in March, but tornado season begins in April. That's because it's when it's one of the most active months, essentially. It's generally either April or May. It's a coin flip at that point. But in April, they're predicting 200 to 275 tornadoes. I just hope it's spread out and it's not like one big outbreak, because we had the 2011 super outbreak and everything, and there were I believe there were almost 200 tornadoes that were reported with that. So I hope this is more spread out. In May, they have it calming down a bit more at 140 to 190 tornadoes, which is still a lot of tornadoes nevertheless, but it's less than the 200 to 275 the month before. So at this point in the season, it's a coin flip. Either April could be really big or May could be really big. It doesn't really matter. It's still in tornado season at this point. So, as you can see, the most active month for tornadoes will coincide when the storms begin to move and shift eastward, because early in the season, they start either in the Deep South or in the Tornado Alley, which is in the Great Plains. But slowly, that basically severe weather season starts shifting to the east towards St. Louis, Indiana, that area right there. So that's effectively what's meaning right there. This is the severe thunderstorm risk, and there is a higher risk of severe thunderstorms from Iowa down to Mississippi into Ohio, including Cincinnati, St. Louis, those cities right there. So this is the higher risk right here. The more moderate risk stretches from the Great Plains all the way to New Hampshire at this point. So yeah, this thing is looking concentrated more towards the Rust Belt area of the country right here. So yeah, the best area for periods of severe weather, basically mid-April into May. They're more generally into Virginia, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. That's when the storms shift to the east and everything, as well as in the upper Rust Belt right here. But more likely in March and April, it's in the deep south, Tornado Alley, and even in parts of the metro area of St. Louis, Little Rock, Louisville, Indianapolis, that area right there. So we'll have to wait and see and everything. We do have a few severe weather risk days right there and everything that are coming up, but at the same time, I'm keeping an eye on it, and it does mention the tornado outbreak that hit in December. But that is effectively the spring outlook right there. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. And with that being said, guys, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.